What's up YouTube, this is Pncollector here, and I'm here with a deck profile with my Lancer Frogs. I know a few people asked about this in my recent video that I just made, and first off, I am going to cover the Insector deck as well. I just wanted to make sure that I gave you guys kind of the Lancer Frogs first, because a lot of people had discussion about it, and I personally like the deck a lot, because it's kind of a good casual fun deck if you're on a low budget right now. And not to mention too, the deck has actually quite a lot of flexibility to deal with the current meta right now. First off though, thanks to Order of Chaos, this deck has changed, and it does really support the theme a lot of using the frogs in combination with your Sea Lancers. So first off, let me go ahead and go over the deck list, and then I'll get into detail as I go with it, guys. Alright, so far you run 1 Gores, the Emissary of Darkness, Tregiota, 2 Obelisk the Tormentors, 1 Caius, 2 Light and Darkness Dragons, 2 Maxis, 2 Screech, 3 Sea Lancer, 3 Swap Frog, 3 Dupe Frog, 3 Rodentoden, 2 Poison Draw Frog, and 1 Treeborn Frog. And then pretty much the rest of it is all spells: Heavy Storm, Foolish Burial, 3 Salvage, 2 MSTs, Monster Reborn, 3 Enemy Controllers, 2 Creature Swaps, and a Pot of Avarice. Okay, in total, when you first look at the deck, the main concept of it too is pretty much to get access either to Swap Frog and Screech, or a combination with Salvage. Now, what you do with either opening, you have to use Swap Frog to get to all of your Rodentotens. Now, with each frog that you mill, such as Dupe Frog and Poison Draw Frog, you remove them from play for Rodentoden and you bring it out to the field. Now, if you get 2 Rodentotens out to the board, it combos a lot really with your Exceed type monsters. So, with the inclusion of Gachi Gachi in the game, you can pretty much spam Gachis out of the board every time you make 2 Rodentotens. And that's pretty helpful a lot, because you can spam 2 to 3 Gachis in a turn. And in combination with that, as all of your frogs get removed from play, such as your Dupe and your Poison Draw Frog, you normal summon Lancer after you tribute it for a monster, whether it be a Treeborn Frog or even a Rodentoden itself. Sea Lancer's ability allows you to get any removed from play Aqua, Sea Serpent, and Fish type monsters that are removed from play and equip them to him. And his attack will become 2300 as long as he has one equipped to him. And in addition, if he would be destroyed by a card effect or by battle, you can destroy one of the materials of the equipments on him and prevent his destruction. So cards like Dupe Frog and Poison Draw Frog say whenever this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you activate their abilities. So if a Dupe Frog is attached to your Sea Lancer, you basically destroy the Dupe Frog and you get to search your deck or your graveyard for a frog type monster. So this really helps you continuously get +1s after even using your Rodentotens. And not to mention too, with Poison Draw Frog, if it gets sent, you get to draw a card. Now, there's a few little neat tricks to do with this, not to mention too, you don't get the effects of the cards though if they're synchroed with or if they're tributed. But a neat thing you can do is using Swap Frog. You can bounce your own Sea Lancer back to your hand with all the frogs attached to it, and then you get all the effects of the frogs, because the last thing happening was the Sea Lancer going into your hand. So therefore nothing changes with the frogs. They still get sent and all of them activate on a separate chain. So you'll get your Dupe Frogs and your Poison Draw Frogs, and pretty much can restart the loop again by creating more Gachi Gachis, and then bringing out Sea Lancer. That's why it has strong sets up with Obelisk the Tormentor, because before we were running 3 Caius, and I took them out, 2 of them, because I felt less and less that they were pretty much getting into the opponent's field. He would either get solemned, even on his own. If he removed something, it didn't matter. So we looked at Obelisk, because the fact that we could, just with the spamming of 3 Rodentotens, it kind of just gave us the idea that we should just try the Obelisk out. And it's really good, because there's very few outs to it, especially right now. And even against Rabbit decks, Rabbit it rarely has any way out to this card. And it ends games faster too, so I give a lot of credit to my friend who actually pretty much put that in there. And then right now you see there's 2 Maxis. It helps to deal with all the special summon decks. It's necessary, and it's sad that the fact it's the only really expensive card in the deck, but it's necessary to help push the deck so that way you can get to the combo pieces. Now, I included Screech in this deck because, like I said, in combination with Salvage, it works really well. It helps you dump a Rodentoden, and if need be, get a Swap Frog to the graveyard and then add them to your Salvage. And then doing so, you spam with Swap Frogs, and then you keep ditching a bunch of frogs, and then set up your graveyard so that way you can use Gachis. It's really good, especially because and plus having a higher water monster count works perfectly well with Swap Frog, and it helps boost the deck a lot. One of my personal favorites though with the deck though is triple enemy controller and double creature swap. I do prefer 3 creature swaps. Right now we're testing the Pot of Avarice to see how it feels with it. It's not completely necessary to have the Avarice, but I mean it's not too bad. Especially like 3 creature swaps is actually pretty much a blessing in this deck. And it's actually one of the reasons why I like playing it so much is just because creature swap and enemy controller. They're just taking your opponent's monsters and it's taking a huge advantage with it. Now another thing to note too, the powerful plays with Light and Darkness Dragon. If you have a Gachi on board with the Light and Darkness Dragon does not negate Gachi's effect because it never activates when he would be destroyed. It's more of a continuous applied effect, so it really does help the fact that you can have a Gachi and a Lad on board and still be okay. Not to mention if you spam 2 Light and Darkness Dragons, you're going to get an extra few negations in there, and that's really, really helpful. It puts a lot of pressure to your opponent, and even if they would try to destroy your field, your Gachis can protect themselves, and you can just revive another monster and redo the combo all over again. So it's really, really cool. But as I mentioned before too, Order of Chaos did help this deck a lot, and one of my favorite cards that they included with it recently, which I really highly recommend if you play 3 Gachis and 3 of this card, would be number 96, Dark Mist. This card is amazing. How to make it is you need 3 level 2 monsters to make him. He has 100 attack, 1000 defense, and he's a level, rank 2 Dark Fiend. And his ability, that is, if he ever battles with a monster, you can detach one of the materials to half their monster's attack, and he gains half the difference. So he'll always pretty much kill anything he battles with. And that is just amazing, because this deck really does need a lot of physical attackers, and thanks to having this card in the deck too, it's another rank 2 that they can use that just abuses the fact that you're running Rodent Totem. And especially too, it helps you get off your Lancer plays faster, and you can combo everything really well with the deck, and I'm really helpful that he's in here. I'm grateful, actually, I should say, not helpful. Really grateful for the fact that he's out, because this is his strongest point in the deck. I've heard people try to run him in Agents, and it's alright, but, I mean, this deck can actually bring out 3 copies of this guy, and it's pretty insane. Like, even when you go through Gachis, it's always good to know that you can have a Dark Mist just to kill anything you're afraid of. I mean, I've seen that thing kill BLS. It's like nothing, so... But, this is the Frog Lancer deck, guys, that I just had recently built. Like I said, it's a really good budget deck if you're looking for something cheap and not too much money. And I mean, like I said, Maxis might be the only thing that's expensive, but you can run it without it. You can even put Veilers in their place. It's still going to help you a little bit. And not to mention too, guys, I am going to be working on the Vanguard stuff too. If anybody's interested in that, I do want to do deck profiles. If you guys want to hear any of that, I mean, just thumbs up the video and rate, comment, subscribe, guys, because like I said, whatever feedback you guys give me, I'll work with it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still going to be my main game, of course, and I just know that a lot of people are interested right now in Vanguard. No one knows really what it does yet. I am currently selling it, so if anybody's interested in singles, let me know. Pretty much can get everything in the sets, so you don't have to be too worried about that. But again, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and thumbs up the video and stuff like that, and this is Pncollector, signing out.